cats, cops, and C4. The blaring of her communicator woke her up slowly and groggily. It wasn't a pleasant sound, but it got her up. The growling further in her office let her know it was getting Vera up at any rate. How the hell had yesterday gone to such hell? Normal, massive gang war with an empty handmaster overseeing it. That sort of whiplash was blessedly rare, but also left her barely able to cope with it. After all, what is the proper response to finding out that a loved one got into a fight with a member of one of the galaxy's greatest warrior organizations and needed immediate medical attention? She manages to grab the device and check. Hopefully it was the hospital with news of, "It's Cenk, but his communicator was destroyed." "Cenk, are you all right?" she asks blearily. Yesterday had been long, a full day of work followed by a horrific gang war and then the hospital. "I am. Are you and Vera all right? I woke up at the hospital alone and both the empty handmaster and the shroud had access to the room I was in." "What?" she asks, sitting bolt upright and barely even noticing the throw cushion Vera reflexively tossed from her place on the couch. "Shortly after I woke up, the empty handmaster, apparently named Kai Lan, entered the hospital room. Once I was finished dealing with her and she left peacefully, I discovered a bag full of clothing sized for me, with a black hoodie among them. The shroud had access to that room. Are you and Vera all right? Have there been casualties with the gang war? Do I need to bring the Undaunted to slam down on the gangs?" We're fine. It's just things kept dragging on and on and on. We were even kicked out of your room by the hospital staff because visiting hours ended and, well, they don't recognize our kind of informal relationship. So we couldn't stay." "I see. The hospital is also getting possibly sued due to not informing the Undaunted about my being in there either. I've been told it will likely come to nothing, but it will scare them at least a little straighter. Are you all right? That's the important thing." "I'm fine. Still a little banged up, but the danger's past and there's just some soreness and a headache remaining. I'm making sure that you're okay. Have we crossed that threshold? Is it time for the commandos?" Cenk asks, and Linda pauses as she thinks. She then sighs. "I can't make that decision. Call the chief's office. She'll make the call," Linda says. The initial scare that Cenk had given her is wearing down with the constant confirmation that he's safe, and she's falling back asleep. Yesterday was too long and far too stressful. "All right, get some sleep, and call me when you wake up. I'll bring you and Vera some takeout. After yesterday, you both probably need it," Cenk assures her. "Thank you. Stay safe, will you? Just don't. I know. I won't. Don't worry." It's to the smell of fresh pastries, fruits, and something fried and savory that Linda pries her head off her desk and glances around. Husband alive and safe? Check. Station still upright? Check. Smug Takra eating a delicious-looking glazed pastry she's downright ready to kill for? Check. "Morning," Cenk says, holding out a box to her. Inside are nearly a dozen other such pastries. Linda grabs one as she blinks a bit more and wakes up further. The sweetness and the ever-so-slight taste of a synthetic spice hits her tongue. It's delicious. You know, I actually have a hard time telling the difference between the fake stuff and real spices. I'm just glad you girls can enjoy the same foods as me now." Cenk notes as Linda goes through 2 cinnamon rolls like a chainsaw before noticing he's brought a fruit platter and a heaping plate of bacon and another of eggs. "This is way too much, hubby. What are you doing with the rest?" Vera asks with a contented purr around a piece of bacon. A quick announcement that in the break room there's a big platter of leftovers for people to snack on will see the plates licked clean within the hour. Cenk dismisses. "Are you all right, though? I can't imagine sleeping at your desk was too comfortable." "I'm fine. I've had worse nights." "So have I, but that doesn't mean I want a repeat of those worse nights," Cenk says. Coming from the man who was hospitalized? She tries to dismiss his concerns. "Yes," he says simply. Okay, before coming here, how much Axiom have you been running through your system to be that perky? A lot? He asks. Relax. I focused on healing and had a few nerdy pointers to help out. Anyways, I'm fed, caffeinated, and fully healed. How are you doing? Need me to get something else? You had a hell of a day yesterday. Coming from the guy who was bounced off the tarmac at half the speed of sound. Yes, says the guy who was bounced off the tarmac at half the speed of sound. He answers, I'm a soldier, best of the best. That's more than just being strong, fast, or accurate. It's more than being able to take orders. It's the ability to shrug off trauma and exhaustion, to get up and choose to keep going long after everyone else would have gone home. There's a certain level of madness to an undaunted, a stupid, stubborn streak that cares more about getting things done than getting home intact. I know that about myself. That's what I signed up for. You are a police officer. Your average day should be at worst arguing with a belligerent idiot trying to deny a petty crime or taking pictures of a crime scene so a forensic investigator can nail the suspect. You were in a full-on war and damn near thought you lost me yesterday. Are you all right? You had a hell of a day yesterday. I wasn't having any fun. Did you speak with the chief? What's about to happen? Overwatch. Undaunted sharpshooters and snipers are going to be assisting in the siege with non-lethal ordnance. Last bit of news I got roughly 5 minutes before you woke up confirmed that a lot of movement was being made and the avenues of retreat for the gangs have been cut off. Cenk explains, and Linda nods as she takes a slice of a sweet melon and crunches down on it. So long gunners from humans are pushing things, huh? Neat, Vera says as she spears another sunny side-up egg and all but tosses it into her mouth. So what did the empty-hand girl do to you? Was she swept off her feet by the tough guy routine you humans got down to a science? Yes, Cenk answers, and Linda chokes a little. Not like that. I should hope not. Bringing someone like that into the relationship is just plain insane, Linda protests after she clears Heath's throat with the help of Cenk giving her some pats on the back. She wanted to adopt me. What? Linda demands as Vera bursts out laughing. Nya ha ha ha. What? Did she decide she doesn't have enough problems? That she needs a contest of will on a daily basis? What was she thinking? It was some kind of strange test. The moment I refused, she said I passed the test and just left peacefully. Logically, she's not going to be showing up for a bit, but my paranoia tells me that she's behind every door and waiting to jump out. Cenk remarks, and Vera laughs further before walking up to the door leading out of Linda's office and dramatically opening it. No one's immediately on the other side, but a woman leans into frame with a baffled expression. Vera gives her a wave and then slams the door. Nope, she wasn't there this time, Vera chirps. Then she opens the door again to the continued confusion of the Lopin officer who hasn't moved. Still not there. I say it is just paranoia talking. Thank you, Vera. Glad to have that cleared up, Cenk says in a deadpan as she cackles a little and slinks up to him. She then steps around him and hops onto his back. You scared us, she says, latching her feet and arms around him. That woman took away your ability to call for help and then beat you like a butcher tenderizing meat. She then lets out a sound that no human could possibly make. It's a cross between a whine, a yowl, and a growl. She buries her face in his neck and just tightens her grip. Don't scare me. Sorry, he says, putting a hand on her head, and she lets out a whining growl. I'm going to kill the shroud, Vera promises. Well, before we jump to conclusions like that, we have to find them first. We do have more evidence, Linda states. Yes, contact with an extremely powerful mercenary to keep the gang wars going, access to hospital records, and a distinct desire to taunt and mock, namely by sending me those clothes. Where are they? Linda asks curiously. I had to wear most of them for a bit just to get to a public communicator without being sexually harassed, but they're all being pored over for evidence, hopefully without too much attention being paid to the pants. Why would they pay attention to the pants when you've got shoulders like these? Vera asks, as her playfulness returns and she starts rubbing them down with a literally catty expression on her face. Shoulders? I thought the best trait was the guns, Chen asks, flexing his arms and having his sleeves bulge out to reveal the corded muscle they barely hide. Vera shifts her grip and pulls up her legs so she can swing off the flexing limb. Probably because you can hold on to this and just play a little. If you got a good grip on the shoulders, though, there's a lot more fun you can get to in a hurry, Vera says, swinging back and forth. Then she turns to Linda with a smile that definitely shows off her fangs. What do you think? What's your favorite part? I'm more of a whole package kind of girl, Linda remarks, and Cenk chuckles as he reaches into the box to grab one of the cinnamon rolls for himself and gives Vera a bit of movement to swing with even as he continues flexing with that arm. Still, I've got some mixed news as well, he says after swallowing his first bite. The intelligence division is aware of what's going on, and I have asked that they stay out of things, but I've been told that they'll be looking into things regardless. Do they have legal standing? The Shroud has made a direct and deliberate movement towards me in particular. I am on loan from the Undaunted, but I'm still of the Undaunted. This means the Shroud just brought themselves into the firing line. Apparently, the Apprentice is being put on the case. The Apprentice? The Intelligence Division has a pair of ancient masters of the arts of spying, subterfuge, interrogation, and assassination. They were both pulled out of retirement and are looking to go back into retirement, so they're training a replacement. That's the Apprentice. There are rumors as to who they really are, but I don't have any confirmed information. Plenty of rumors and pointed fingers, though, even a few about me. About you? Vera asks, letting go and standing upright fully. You don't look very spy-like to me. Of course, that's kind of the point of being a spy, in that no one thinks you're a spy. Oh, does that mean that the best undaunted spies are those really, really big ones? Are your spies as big as bull canidors? Because that would be awesome. Apparently, part of the apprentice's training is smoking their own trail, which in this case means making up and propagating more and more rumors until he can be anyone. From what I understand, his eventual goal is to make the situation so stupid that he can outright admit to being the apprentice, and no one will believe him. Is that why you've accused Argus of being the Shroud a few times? It's so absurd that it would be a perfect disguise, Linda asks. It's working for the apprentice. Why not for the Shroud? Cenk justifies and Linda giggles. Not every species is as crazy as humanity is. In fact, I dare say that few are. If it's crazy and it works, was it really crazy? He asks with a smile. Yes it was. It's called getting lucky. I thought that's what we were doing tonight, Cenk asks, and Linda's sudden flush and Vera's renewed cackling tells him he hit the bullseye. He finishes off the nearly forgotten cinnamon roll and then, after cleaning his fingers, pulls Linda in for a hug. Relax. Stressing out will only tire you out. Which is no good for tonight, Vera teases, and can make you slip up at an important moment. Relax. I'm here, I'm fine, and I've called in the cavalry. We just need to follow with a camera and a mop. Humans, Linda says, leaning her head against his chest. Are you wearing body armor? It's going to be a while before I go anywhere without armor and weapons, Cenk admits, and Linda returns the hug. You know, most people have security blankets for things like that. Since when has any member of the Undaunted been anything like most people? Point.